Goldman Sachs has landed itself in the midst of one of the world's largest scandals, resulting in approximately $4.5 billion stolen from the One Malaysia Development Berhad. How did this happen? First, it starts with 1MDB, a Malaysian state fund set up in 2009 by Prime Minister Najib Razak to promote economic development through foreign investments and partnerships. In 2009, 1MDB entered into a joint venture with PetroSaudi that Najib Razak's close family friend Joe Lau managed. There was $1 billion invested into the PetroSaudi joint venture from 1MDB, which ended up in a Swiss bank account owned by Joe Lau. Next, we have Xavier Justo, a former PetroSaudi employee who sets the discovery of the scandal into motion by taking a copy of 90 gigabytes of internal data. He leaked these documents to Claire Rue Castle-Brown, who is an investigative journalist and sister-in-law to former British Prime Minister Gordon Brown. She is the operator of the Sarawak Report, an online blog and book used to leak 1MDB's fraudulent behavior. Next, we have the role of the Malaysian officials. Najib Razak, as mentioned before, started 1MDB and it ended up pocketing $700 million from the scandal, which he used to purchase jewelry and fine gifts for his wife. He denied this, saying that he simply received a donation from Saudi royalty in the amount of $700 million a few years before. Najib Razak's stepson, Riza Aziz, was also involved in the scandal. He used stolen funds from 1MDB to produce the movie The Wolf of Wall Street starring Leonardo DiCaprio. He has agreed to give back $60 million for his crime. To launder the money, Joe Lau implemented a complex web of shell companies where he was the hidden owner. For instance, the $1 billion mentioned in the PetroSaudi joint venture went into his company called Goodstar Limited. There is still an ongoing investigation as to whether Joe Lau, or PetroSaudi, was the final owner of the company. In order to conceal the transactions, there were many bank accounts set up around the world, including Switzerland and offshore countries such as the Cayman Islands and the British Virgin Islands. These accounts involved major banks like JP Morgan, RBS, and HSBC. Now we get to the central role that Goldman Sachs played in this scandal. Goldman Sachs raised $6.5 billion in the sale of 3 bonds between 2012 to 2013 for 1MDB and earned $600 million in fees. Approximately $2.5 billion of that money was misappropriated by 1MDB officials. Goldman Sachs maintains that the fraud was done by rogue employees and is not at fault. Two key Goldman Sachs players in the scandal are Roger Ng and Tim Lesner. Tim Lesner used to be the Southeast Asia chairman for Goldman Sachs and is known for going to great lengths to close bank deals while also being a heavy partier. Lesner has been charged with conspiring to launder money and conspiring to violate the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act by paying bribes to various Malaysian officials and Abu Dhabi officials and circumventing internal accounting and compliance controls of Goldman Sachs. He has pleaded guilty. Lesner maintains that he was acting within the scope of his employment and with the intent to benefit Goldman Sachs and himself. He will return $43.7 million to the government for his crimes. Roger Ng, former Goldman Sachs banker and Lesner's co-conspirator, helped Lesner hide the fraud from internal controls throughout the entire scandal. He is charged with the same counts as Lesner but maintains his innocence. The fact that Goldman Sachs was deeply involved in such a large-scale scandal is a sign they are lacking proper corporate governance. Looking at the fraud triangle, we can begin to see the areas where Goldman Sachs was weak in allowing the scandal to arise. Going first into opportunities, the structure of the company is designed in a way that power is so centralized that the individuals are able to engage in large-scale fraudulent behavior under the company's name. The missing supervision is shown through the weakness of the compliance department. These weaknesses allow ample opportunities for fraudulent behavior from unethical employees in high positions. As part of the culture, there's a large pressure of the employees to bring in money or be at risk of getting fired. Employees are given quotas that they must reach, causing them to put profits before clients. These situational pressures instill fear into the employees, forcing them to sign deals such as the one with 1MDB. Key players such as Najib Razak and Tim Lesner are so driven by money in the extent that they have no regard for ethics and legality. Goldman Sachs is at fault for cultivating this culture and fraudulent behavior in its employees. Tim Lesner says that it is very much in line with its culture of Goldman Sachs to conceal facts from certain compliance and legal employees. As you can see, this large-scale scandal was implemented by few people with too much power and could have been avoided had there been proper corporate governance controls.